And I believe, brothers and sisters, and remember, recover, return. I believe in the fucking hope held in a song. And I believe that the music makes us strong. I believe in the power of guitar and drum. Well, you get your entertainment through a corporate plan. 5 young athletes in a dancing band who are trained to act moronically and smile on demand, 'cause it makes more money for the Jewish man. And I can't believe that everyone is happy with the newest teen sensation, carbon copy. But I believe in the power of guitar and drum. I believe in the hope held in a song. And I believe that the music makes us strong. I believe in the power of guitar and drum. Well, you eat McFood, play with Barbie, drink Coca-Cola. You don't do anything that marks you as solo. Only use your brain for playing Nintendo. Consume everything with corporate logo. Eat McFood, play with Barbie, drink Coca-Cola. Don't do anything that marks you as solo. Only use your brain for playing Nintendo. Consume everything with corporate logo. Can't believe that Maria's people could be happy with the latest teen sensation, carbon fucking copy. So I believe in the power of guitar and drum. I believe in the hope held in a song. I believe that the music gets you strong. I believe in the power of guitar and drum. For everyone waiting to hear from Maria, I like to torture you with bad singing. But we do believe in the power of dance and music. I don't know if I've ever mentioned, but everything Maria does has to be warmed up with some shamanic, trance-like, beautiful techno ballet, roots rock forever music. And she is the mighty, most beautiful muse ever, the daughter, wife, and mother of Lord Lucifer, Alleluia Shiva, Alleluia Shiva, Allah Shiva, Jaluja. Hail the light of this world. Hail the most Aryan Hindu Lulu Shiva. And we don't know this Jewish deceiver that's not from our land, not from our people, not from our caste. And you can say what you will. You can talk about all the smart people that believed in Jesus, and you can also suck a fucking pussy at the same time, because we thank you dearly for letting us know that you're a cunt. Turn your back on your own people, your own race, your own religion, everything. For what? Money, and to fit in, to have friends, money, and success. To not looked at as a loser. But I'll tell you, I've tried to win, but I am the biggest loser. And that's what made me win in another world. Oh, what other world? The world you're going to suddenly be plunged into when you did die. And I'm almost at the point that we're talking to a world of AI people mostly. And then there's our people. I mean, come on. I'm talking to Maria's people. You've got to know her through the goddamn hundreds of hours I've been talking about her. Do you understand what we're doing? It's like an art project. She's bringing you her goddamn fucking self, who she really is. I hesitated. She said, the pussy-eating lesbian bitch that you think she is, 100%. She's saying right now, after this talk, I'll probably meet in a simulation where I'll spread the legs of my friend and make sure our pussies touch. She said others may spend their time in simulations playing games. I mean, they come out talking about their high scores and they're talking about their team and their da. She said, but what we meet and talk about is the power to project these things into other realms, other worlds, where other people are waiting who don't exist on Earth simulation or exist on Venus. And like Maria said, that's how she found me. That's how she found the person talking to you right now. And for the fucking dumb bumpkin, Jesus died for us. I mean, come on, Irish, English, European, join me in this Middle Eastern desert tribe religion that came out of Egypt. Yeah, that really has to do with you, you dumb, ugly fuckers. Fuck you fucking Christians. You know, it's just a beautiful chorus that resonates through Aryan Lucifer, who comes from the northern parts of India. That's where he was born. His parents came from the North Pole, and they knew their lineage. I don't know my lineage because my people were enslaved, you motherfucking N-words. That's what I'm saying with our people to the world. We're truth against the world, and fuck you if you're not. I mean, what is there left, huh? Gonna cover for the fucking Israelis? You know, we can't even say their goddamn name. That's how much control they have over everything. You know what I'm talking about, the banker religion, right? Is it really a fucking religion, or is it a death cult, or is it a death squad? What is it really? Is it hiding under every goddamn motherfucking rock that you turn over? Huh? Is it hiding deep under somebody else's religion? And who is it? You fucking tell me. I've tried my hardest and given my best effort, and I'm telling you it's Aleister Crowley. And you motherfuckers come to me and tell me, and what you really announce is, I am a high priest from the Church of the Subgenius. It's off-world, dimensional, demon aliens. And I'm like, I know. His name is Aleister Crowley, which isn't his real name like the rest of these motherfucking people. And if you're wondering if you should stay tuned or tune out right now, we want you to remember, recover, return, who you are, your lost power of the orgasm, and return home out of this fucking place. And what we're going to talk about tonight is the story of Donald Trump, who Donald Trump is. And he's not Donald Trump. It's a fake name. And he is a glossy, golden image of how much America sucked in the 70s, 80s, 90s, right until 2025. It's 11/11, 2025. I'm coming to you from St. Lucifer, Miss Rhea. Yeah, Mo. I'm coming to you from Mo, St. Louis, Mo. I'm coming from the Lou, Mo Lou. Lou Mo. Mo Lou. Mary Lou. And listen, do you not get the fucking joke? Maria Orsic is a shaman, not a Jewish bitch that worshipped her son as this prick god that needs to forgive us because we're so awful, because we lusted for somebody's nice fat, titties or dick or ass, or I don't even know. I wanted to take the woman's side. That was funny. Maria, you're hilarious. And we like to say, I try to say every night that Mother Orsic is sitting right here. Because somewhere, and I've been asking her, she said late March. Equinox. Around the equinox, we started. I used to see Maria 3 hours every week in the ritual. And like I described in our timeline before, one ritual, she was like, Joe, we can telepathically communicate, all day, any day, all the time. We're one. I never knew, and you hear people talk like this, but you don't know what it really means. And I refuse at this point to be fake. If I don't know what something means, I don't know what it means. And I suddenly realized the last thing I would ever say was that my wife and I are one. Not because I don't love her, but on a practical, factual level, I never had any experience of it, except, which would come later in the ritual. So, basically, never make any assumptions. I'm sure along the line I would assumed, and like Maria's saying to me right now, that's because of your own good nature. I would assumed I was one with her. I would assumed we were a team. And this is, like I say, we're against team sports and all this fucking bullshit about work as a team. That's great if it's natural and for everyone's highest happiness. But when you start forcing anything, now you've become profit motive, money motive. And we don't like that. We think you're disgusting. We think overpriced name brands are disgusting. You're a disgusting N-word. If you would give your life time, say there's two things that they are the exact quality, and you know it, and one's $100 and one's $500. For you to pay 5 times more is to give 5 times more time of your life. And I know you think you have nothing but time to waste here because you're under the magic spell of post-World War II Thelema. And that's where we're going to, fuck it and skip this personal bullshit. We're going to skip straight to the history. The first time. Okay, let me back up a little. For people who aren't familiar, what Maria started teaching me in 2011 as the Missouri River Goddess was the world ended June 6, 1948, and that was like the culmination of a nuclear winter that had started in 1945. The real truth is the first 2 German nuclear bombs that United States dropped on Japan, were the first of 2,000 that would end up being dropped by America, Britain, France, Russia, India, and other countries. China, Japan. Did I say Japan? Even Japan. Even America, after dropping the very first bombs on Japan, recruited them back as their own allies. And this is why there's a sort of general feeling that Japan sucks. That it's a great place and it's great people, but they're the sellouts. They're the ones who sold out to America. They're the ones that submitted to the threat of violence, which we would label as force, right? Because of the energy that comes from, I'm tough, I'll beat you up, I'll hurt you, I'll kill you. Like Maria said, thank the gods, Joe, that things get better when you die, not worse. In other words, the survival instinct that I'm bigger, I'm stronger, is truly equalized when you die. Even on that, that's why America hates shaman. Because America, Christians, Manifest Destiny Christians came over here and genocided the Indians. I'm going to say it 1,000 times tonight. Just turn off your fucking thing if you don't want me. I'm going to keep saying all night that the spirit of Trump is the spirit of the black magician in 1700s, leading the Christians with manifest destiny, human sacrifice those Indians. It's the Passover, nigga. Kill the poor Indians. And we can have our new British Empire of pedophilia, human trafficking, and the greatest of all things to this religion, taxes, of course. Right? They love to not work for their money. That's grace, you dumb ass N-words. I love the people who are like, yeah, great. I believe in Jesus because of the grace of God, that God gives us what we don't deserve. Yeah, and He also doesn't give what people have earned and deserve. He withholds that from them. And you agree with that because you're sick and under mind control. Every Christian that believes they're a sinner, a moon worshiper, you wish you were, you dumb fucking gay fucking dork. I'm a moon worshiper. Like Maria said, I got my tongue up the moon goddess's pussy until she comes on it. Because why? Can you not understand? If you like worshipped a movie like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or something like that, the more realistic thing, what we're saying, what Maria's saying tonight is like, I'm sorry, but Maria, she's like, Joe's my Frodo. He's my Frojo. He's my Frojo. I'm carrying the message of your mother, right? Why is there no clear message? People are like, did you know that was Maria Orsic that appeared to those children in Fatima? And I asked her, and she laughed. She laughed out loud. She said, and was that Joseph? When the Mother Mary, yeah, that Jewish fucking cunt hole. Diseased cunt hole. Why do we say that? Because she supports genocide, motherfucker. Do you not get that? That Mother Mary and her N-word fucking virtueless people came and killed your fucking ancestors? How many times are we going to have to say it? Like, who are we talking to? You know, and I hope there's people with me talking to Christians saying, how fucking dare you? Do you not understand anything? Do you not understand misery, despair? Have you not been there? And like Maria said, these are the people who are traumatized out of their mind by the Matrix. They're traumatized into like, no, this is real. These are the people I love. Really on a superficial, fake-ass level. And I hope I'm wrong. Let me tell you, let me give, and before I go to Trump, let me just give some clarifying things. Did you most likely look up on Venus the persons that you would find out were your mother and your father? It's like real life right now. Of course you did. Does it mean they're from your caste on Venus? No. No more than it means in this reality right now that their spirit is similar to yours. And according to your desperation, anything could be similar when you're desperate enough. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about scientific frequency match technology. In other words, technology that could really actually match you with your potential true love. Not a lottery game. I had someone privately tell me, and I had no idea why she would tell me this, except I think she wanted, I don't know, maybe she wanted me to say it was not right. I didn't really know what to say. But she said to me, I married my husband because she said I had, sex with a few men before I met him. And she said he's the only man that could make me come. And I honestly, probably like you right now, didn't really know why she was saying that to me. In a way, I thought, you're smarter than most people. That's more real than the wife of the manipulated man. Do we have to say that again? It's like one long phrase. The wife of the manipulated man. The wife of the man being manipulated by the woman who will not admit that she's doing it by manipulation. But it has to be manipulation because it's a survival instinct that is unconscious. In other words, women, you don't know why you had this plan in your head to get married and find, your best friend or whatever to have a family with. That's great, but it's not eternal true love. It's not supernatural. It's very much animalistic. It's very much on the instinctual level, not the eternal true love level. Could we get that through? or you don't like to go that deep. Do you want to go that deep to real reality, or would you like to stay in the Matrix? Do you want to, I mean, really, bottom fucking line. Do you want to get out of here? Do you believe me? Let's lose some more listeners. Let's lose some more people here. You know, obviously we're trying to be a small channel. Okay? If you don't believe you're in technology and your life has been on repeat without you, you're unconscious to the fact your only conscious thoughts are deja vu. Your only conscious thoughts are day of Jah in you. That's your only, all of a sudden you have a independent conscious thought. This has happened. This has already happened. I have seen this scene. I have heard these words. Have you had that experience? That's what we're calling day of Jah in you. The day of Jah in you. Because all real knowledge comes with a real experience and a real rippling butterfly effect. Or it's not fucking real. You know? I could hear Maria say it. I've done everything I can think of, people, to make Joseph know that I'm on Venus meditating, but I can leave my body and I can be in the real inner earth of the holographic universe. And I can be at his house and I'll be on time because I am the Scorpio time goddess. I'm the goddess of nigga ass time, as Joe would say. People don't believe we can switch bodies, but we do. And when Maria talks like that, to me it's very funny. When I just knew her as a Missouri River goddess, she was saying the funniest shit to me, like, you think I'm a goddess, what do you think, I'm from BC? And I'm like, what? She's like, even if I was from BC, doesn't mean I don't know music from all fucking time. She said, as far as you know, I studied dance and music from 15,000 BC to 15,000 AD. And I'm like, huh? I was like, what? You know, by this time we were pretty friendly. But I was like, lady, what are you getting at? And she's like, I'm getting at that I like hip hop and I like reggae. This was so funny to me because after being a Rastafarian and a Christian, and truly Rastafarians are, I mean, 90% of them, they don't know any better, but they're Christians, you know. They're basically Christians. They're scared to go away from what they were first taught by Whitey, who doesn't have good intentions, my niggas. Ask my Irish ancestors about their intentions when they threw men, women, and children into the ocean, in the 400-foot deep ocean, with no one to save them. I want you to go there. I want you to know they did that to black people. I really want you to know that. People here in America, I don't want you to forget that the black people here, some of their ancestors were taken off of, I'm not saying by my ancestors. I'm a slave too. I doubt if someone of that class that owns slaves and could sell slaves is actually listening, they're listening because they're interested in what their enemy is saying, you know. But I just want you to know that is a living fact. I did the research. And, people wrote in their diaries, they wrote about this stuff a lot. They wrote a lot about it because there is always the exception. And we're not talking about a simulated reality. We're talking about the real reality. That they wrote, I worked on this ship that carried human cargo, and I witnessed the captain of the ship took some of the sick people that were throwing up and were very sick, and he threw them off the ship into the water. And they did that to Irish people. It's a terrible thought. And your beautiful Catholic Church was built on their blood. How dare you? How dare you? And like Maria said, they took away your identity by taking away your language. So that they scared people so bad that they made them forget the words that were powerful to them. They would beat them and say, "Who is your God? Who is your God?" And then they would say, "If you ever say that word, we'll kill your children." And of course, a lot of times they would separate the children, but they'd also use them as like collateral. I mean, there's a few things to be proud of as white people. As far as I know, the only thing that we should be proud of, like working backwards, we should be proud of Miguel Serrata. That he's such a great writer. And we can be proud of Wagner, Mozart, and like Maria said, from 1912 on, Lucifer was telling her the most tragic thing about the white race, which don't really exist, is that how they always treated Russians as these barbaric cavemen that weren't smart. And what we're doing is bringing balance, right? There's white people have have treated each other there's just no way it could be worse. There's not worse things that any, race could do to itself. It's scary. I remember back in 2017, when Tracy Twyman died. I went through years and years and years of being shown who these people are and how evil they are. And I'll try to sum it up in a few words. The Process Church were the main branch of Thelema. They came to America, and they brought sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and a lot of people were attracted to it, especially the sex part of it. And they infiltrated every single part of the constitutional republic founded by George Washington, and they taught openly to overthrow George Washington that slaves don't have no Bill of Rights. Slaves don't have no amendments to protect them. And they embarked on building the most powerful military to murder the most people, and on the astral plane it would all be human sacrifice to no longer an archetype but an actual person, Aleister Crowley, which of course isn't his real name, just like Donald Trump, and we're going to get to Trump. Right, we're just giving a brief history. So, the world ended, the real world ended, June 6, 1948. The first time the simulation repeated, it ended June 6, 1948. Didn't seem like anything was different. Literally. Maria just said, I was there. I can tell you. I lived in Donna's body the first time the simulation ever began. And she lived in mine. And that's what it means to be one. But listen to this. This is very important. The second time the simulation repeated. And like Maria said, that's a form of speech that the simulation repeats every 450 million years. Like she said, that's a way on Venus of saying a long-ass time. But she qualified for me after many years. It does not completely... The holographic universe is not programmed and does not act like nature when it repeats. There's whole millions of years of deleted, that doesn't happen because it's not relevant to why anyone would want to be here. Basically, the simulation starts, of course, with the God of the simulation, Lucifer, in his life. And like Maria said, you would never know it. She said, never once did I think I was living in Venusian technology. I was truly Sleeping Beauty. When they woke me up, it took days and days and days for me to realize that I wasn't Donna. And yet, I thought, she said, check this out, Joe. I was communicating out of my body when I was Donna in the simulation. This is Queen Diana, the goddess Diana. The archetype came from this real woman that ruled Atlantis by sort of elected monarchy, you might say. Like they're like they grew in fame throughout the whole world because of one reason. They lost 9 children, and they came from the most ancient place on earth, Baalbek, Lebanon, in that whole region. Elam, Lou, after he was born in northern India, his as a baby, as a small child, his father was appointed in this sort of world government that was going on at the time as like a governor, ruler over what we would call Iran right now, or like a section of it, at least the part that contained the city that is now called Elam. And that's male backwards. And that's where he moved when he was a child. And that's where he grew up. He said, like, that's my home. That's what I know is my home. If people want to know, the home of Lucifer, he wasn't born there, but he moved there when he was a child and grew up there. And he's like, all my friends, everything that ever was me was Elam, was developed when I was a child in Elam. And he was, he had 9 children. He became a governor himself. And like he said, there was mass media at the time. And there was technology, but there was no toxic technology. It's like nothing I can hardly understand what he's talking about when he talks about like a earth full of people that were too smart to have a whole lot of children because they were too scared that they might not be provided for and that they might throw the earth out of balance and shit. This was a normal consciousness of people, that they were completely controlled, the animal instinct, the animal libido, through sex, magic, spiritual, shamanistic rituals, ritualized sex. That's what Maria has always said to me. She said, you know what's wrong with all these women? And I truly didn't know what to fucking say. They don't ritualize their sex, so they have nothing really to look forward to. And how Lou became Lou was, and like he said, I never aspired to be this. It claimed me. And I can hear Maria saying, because he's too nice, Joe. He's too nice. He became, and he had a twin brother. Lou had a literal twin brother, right? And they always got along, but when Lou became the governor, and he said, if you knew my brother, how good of a person he was, you would know how bad these people are. And Lou was telling me, Joe, like you were saying, all real knowledge starts with a personal experience. It's so true. He said same. That's how I am here tonight with you, why I am who I am. He said, I very well could be just one of the gods, because all the giants are gods. Hundreds of millions of them. They're just like different kind of beings. They're human, but they're like what we would consider like super spiritual, super creative. Like Lou said to me one day, yeah, most of the music that's made on Aldebaran would bother you, because it's too much. It's just not caveman enough. It's not like, they don't like heavy beats. You know, I don't like this, like, I can't even describe it, dude. The whole image of you have in your mind of like wizards doing magic shit, that's how Aldebaran is. And like Maria's here saying, believe me, she's been there many times. And like she said, it's not, like she said, it's not any different than Venus. It's just further away. And in that it's a domed city. And listen to what Maria tells me, which is very interesting. She says to me, they're lying, Joe, about the stars and the sun. There's a very obvious contradiction about what they're telling us about what a literal scientific star is, and we'll get back to Lou, and what the sun and the same, they're saying they're the same things. And like she said, Joseph, rise up as an individual and proclaim the sun is not a star. Because my eyes see, and it is a fact, that stars burn out. And the sun, 4.5 million years in the future, is the same source of energy for Aldebaran, another like parallel system. Like she said, come on, Joe. It's that deep that there's people living on parallel Venuses. And basically, the technology is multi-layered, and wherever you want to be, you can be. You can be. You can enter a place in Venus, a simulation, simply by sitting in your natural living room, where it's exactly like the real world with real people who are plugged in, and wherever you think you are. You are. You know what I mean? You relax, you plug into the simulation app of imagination of outside of time and space, astral simulation, right? And you're like, I'm in London, and you're there. And you, like a lot of the people we know, are into studying, these parallel, like studying the Earth and how the sun and the Earth are, and Venus, the actual planet, are these impersonal energy sources that are connected to the sun in a sort of sexual way. That the reason why the species keeps going and basically why people keep fucking is because the sun and earth are exchanging. They're making love. The sun and the earth are making love, and the moon is the moon child. It is the astral energetic offspring of this vril energy. And what vril energy is, again, and it has to somehow break through the brainwashing. There's no spirit world. There's the vril inner earth world, literally. It's not called the spirit inner earth world. It's not called the inner spirit earth world. It's called the Zion Vril inner earth. Why? Because the sexual energy to carry on the species continues after death, and that's what, Joseph? I said, miracle. What a miracle. She said, what'd your best friend say to you? Joe, you're going to like it here. We fuck here. And he said to me, do you understand what I'm saying? People are having sex after they died. And he said to me, because the body I have is as real and physical as the one you have. And I was marveling. This is after being a Christian for 42 years. I mean, since my birth, I was born into it. And he said to me, Joseph, my best friend since first grade, he said to me, Joseph, there's lots to learn about sex. It's deeper than you could ever imagine. And I had no idea what he was talking about. Talking about that energy, how it is the acid test for authenticity. It's the ultimate test of authenticity, right? Like Maria said, it's okay, because sometimes I don't want to sound crude next to say. I don't want to sound like I'm demeaning it. But like she said, at the very essence, what gets you off is a revelation, if you'll be honest. And you might be like, what are you getting at? That at your essence, you're like wild. And you need a partner not to lease or contract your pussy out for exclusive rights. That does nothing to resolve that your actual vril energy is animalistic and wild, and you have to figure out how to be real and use it for something productive. Like, I've been literally, if there ever was a real thing as worship, I have been literally praising and worshiping my first girlfriend for being so wonderfully, beautifully honest that it's amazing. She's on one level, she's an amazing person. For her authentic honesty is just something truly, if I've learned anything, that is eternal. That is truly, and like Maria said, you brought that out in her. You should be proud of it. And it's true, and it's very sexual. It's very, I hate the word sexual. Sensual, is that better? You know what I mean? It very much provokes feeling beyond normal sexual vibes, I'm just trying to say she was was on, like, what am I trying to say? She was a wild person, to be so honest, but it made her so beautiful. I mean, it was like I've never really seen anything. It's kind of almost like a remarkable standard of authenticity to set. And I'm not saying she's the smartest person ever. I'm not saying she's dumb either, though. And because I don't really know her anymore. But, and before I go into Trump, I should say, and, just to sum up the story with Lou, the reason he's so famous is he became, and then I'll go to the rest of it. The reason he became so famous is his wife was known as one of the most beautiful women ever, in the press, in the media. And they had 9 children. I mean, that's what she was so famous for, that she had 9 children and still had a great looking body and was still beautiful. And, through the whole 9 children, she, was a total, the ultimate sort of giving, loving person to the public, of just taking her children with her to help other people. And she gave her whole life to helping people. She's the goddess of all that, She's the goddess of teaching people to never harm animals, to only eat them out of absolute starvation necessity. And if you would meet with them and know them as people, they would agree to give their lives to you. If you would ask properly. If you would give thanks properly to them and not to an imaginary God that doesn't exist. God didn't produce a chicken. God didn't make a cow. Your imaginary God, if he did exist and could create like that, but he refuses to help a child with a brain tumor who's suffering, or suffering with blood cancer, or suffering with paralysis, or suffering being born with 3 arms and your fucking radioactive, depleted uranium world you've built. And see, why we're so angry and hateful is we're so sick of the people who defend their oppressors. We're saying death, the black and white oppressors. And these people are like, no, they kill babies and light people on fire, drop bombs on tents of families. But Jesus said, love them. Jesus said, bless them. You dumb fucking sheep, you'll believe anything. I just want to say real quick, there's a Jamaican I just feel like I'm supposed to say this. There's a Jamaican saying that says, only the good sheep can change their wool. Meaning that you stay open-minded and teachable, and that you're willing, that you don't have cognitive dissonance, and that when the facts are presented to you, you recognize them and you change your wool. It doesn't mean you're a dumbass sheep. Sheep aren't dumb. Anyone that's known goats and sheeps and lambs and shit, they're the sweetest beings. They're the Capricorn, earthy, trusting, loving. These are 2 totally, completely different things. These are hypothetical examples. That's a good thing. That you can change your wool means you're able to have belief progression of beliefs, evolution of belief. Your beliefs must correspond to your truth, to your reality. If they don't, then you really are schizophrenic. See, I had to decide what was real at some point. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's gonna cause a little bit of like, I tried to get my wife to participate in the ritual always, like a religion, but she refused, so obviously it's going to become like a split in the experiential knowledge of reality. You know what I mean? Like, eventually, like the shaman, I'm not saying I'm a shaman, but I'm the apprentice of the shamaness, and I'm experiencing exactly what, she told me I would. And it comes a point where this is why we get, I get emotionally or angry at people. Like, I tried mushrooms once. Well, it's like saying I went to church once, or I opened up the Bible, I read one book or one chapter. Like, either way, the Bible sucks, but the ritual is great. But either way, if you're not going to really give it a chance, you don't have any authority or credibility. Like, okay, so you're going to denounce what I've done, 600 times because one time you didn't like how you feel. The world, every fucking day, I don't like how I feel. Every fucking day, I don't want to do some meaningless work. All day. I mean, there's literally, the greatest, most pleasurable thing in the world. The greatest, highest pleasure in the world, I don't want to do for 8 hours a day. Do you understand this is slavery, nigga? Like she said, the whole, we talk a lot about vril orgasmic energy, but life isn't just that. You have to also cycle in the rest that balances that astral. Like she said, if you're going to live that way, then don't have a body on Venus. If check this out, if that's all you want to do is live in the eternal orgasm, and we love it, like she said, Joe, this is a true reality balance. If you really do want to live there, where you don't have to work, you don't have to eat, you don't have to drink, you'll never get sick, but at the same time you'll be super, super, super isolated, you can live there. But you can't have a body on Venus. This is the agreement that you made to have this sort of eternal energy body. The agreement was, I'm going to be a person. I know people would think my shit experiences were crazy with the Missouri River Goddess. But she was teaching me how narrow-minded, because of experience I was, and that I didn't really know a full spectrum of people. And there were people who lived once on Earth. People talk about fucking karma and blah, blah, blah. That is fucking bullshit, let me tell you. There's no fucking force of nature that's making you pay for your sins. The only force of nature that would ever do that is your true self. And yeah, it happens, but it's not smart. It's for the masses. And the real truth is, Maria told me there's like a whole billion, like a 1,000 million people who lived once on Earth, in the physical real-time Earth, and now they live together on this astral dimension, non-physical dimension. And she said that was one of the first worlds she ever brought me to. And she brought me to her friend, and he was like, believe it or not, before and he was standing at, like, it literally looked like a Disney castle in a way. Maybe not as big, but he literally was meeting us at, like, the gate of the property, and he was fully dressed like a fucking wizard. I'm not kidding. And, like, I mean, like, if he would have gave the time, I could have just sat there and looked at. He had like almost like a trench coat, but it was very fucking colorful with all these magical symbols and shit. And this dude was a straight up, like, Gandalf looking wizard. And he's the one that he transmitted to my mind, like, yeah, I'm Maria's friend. We love her, he said to me. But he was like, you have to understand, there's all different kinds of people, Joseph. He's like, Maria told me about you. Like, this has been planned. He's like, I'm going to give you a tour of my house, by request of Maria. He was so nice. He was so nice to me. And at times I would look at him and I would think, like, man, dude, I thought you were like 30 years old. And I'd look back and I'd be like, dude, he's like 80 years old, but looks younger or something. I'm not kidding. His form was like changing to the vibration or something, man. Dude, it was crazy. He knew that I was picking up on this, and he's like, Joe, you're outside of the physical world. I exist here as an individual person. He's like, here, at my home, at my house, you are what you imagine. Imagination is creation. Like, I'm creating myself before you. It's just a reflection of the energy. It's all sunlight, my son. It's all sunlight. He's like, the truth will always be known, Joseph. Don't worry. Don't worry. And he's like, look at my home. He's like, you know why it is like it is? It was like 3 stories. And it was like, I don't know, ancient looking, but yet futuristic. And it had a couple flags hanging, flying from the top. And he's like, yeah, that's my wife's flag and my flag. I was like, you have a wife? And he was like, literally, like, we're here with you. Like, she's present here. And me. We're one. And I was like, man, dude, that's crazy. But I wasn't saying that, but I was thinking that shit. Because me and him and Maria were walking towards this house. And I was like, am I talking with my mouth or with my mind? I'm not kidding you. And Maria's like, I know you're in his world. I mean, he is a powerful person. I was like, and she's like, and he like looked at me like, no, I'm not so powerful. And I'm like, like Maria said, he don't have to try. It's crazy, man. It's like Maria always said, real magic is beyond words. Like, real magic is changing reality. And she's like, our main quest now is to figure out if the eternal return, like, what is the true self? What kind of, like she said, Joseph, even your mother, I need to know myself. even more, even better. She was like, you do understand, Joe. Real space is inside of you, and the expanding universe is not what's real. That's already been eternally returning real. It's real and returning is what I'm trying to say. And she said, it's you and I, our comprehension of it, our understanding of how the fuck, I mean, this is the bottom line, and I'll get to Trump. Promise. This is the bottom line. I'm trying to tell Lou's story, right? That he became all this, like a great spiritual teacher. And I was just saying, before I go back to that, like Maria and this supernatural being, telling me, like, it all begins, like I was saying, like, how do fucking things be, And this being, like, reading my mind and saying, the sooner you, as an individual, accept that, like he said, I know you've come from the Earth simulation right now. He said, I lived on Earth, real time as a giant. He said, and believe me, nothing has changed. We're just bigger than you. He said, the revelation that, like he was saying, like you would say in your terms, scientific. But with his mind, he was like on a literary level of fact. And that, like, he was trying to communicate with me and saying, hey, listen, dude, I've come to, through how I got here, to this, like, freedom from food, from all bad vibes, all bad energy. And this doesn't mean ignoring suffering. Like he said, if you can become, he said, this is what I've done as my gift to all the worlds. Like, you're going to go tell the story. I'm brought, like, he was in a way saying, like, hey, I'm giving you this time, this tour of my house, because I love Maria, and you're going to tell the world for me. Like, that's the sort of exchange. And as I was saying earlier, Maria, I believe, was, did this for me, to give me hope, to give me, like, a broader perspective. And this gets right at the heart of Lou's revelation as a natural man in the first time Earth. Right? He said to me, this magician of other worlds, you're going to realize that everything has already happened because you're so sophisticated. You have planned the most intricate, to the detail, path to, and he paused and looked at Maria. And it was like I knew what he was going to say. He was like, your highest happiness. Like, he's like, you're gonna realize how you help others is by, and he paused again and looked at Maria and looked at me. I can't even tell you what this dude looked like. He looked like a fucking Nordic wizard, like a reddish red hair. He is quite a weird looking dude, but was like kind of beautiful in his own way, I want to say. And he said to me, Clue, little son of Maria. It's more scientific than you think. And I was like, what is? He was like, the people that will give you the peace to create something peaceful, like what I created. And he pointed to his house, And I was just so taken by the whole thing. It looked fake to me. It looked like a fairy tale. Disney, like I said, a Disney castle, kind of. But it was more practical. It wasn't like all just like towers and shit. But it was big. And it was... I started to be like, man. And there was like people there, And I asked Maria, are those real people? She's like, of course they are. She said, Joe, there's so many people in all the world's 100 billion. Like, we can't even we can't even imagine how many souls exist for us to be like, in a fucking 100 billion to 1 lottery, I found my true love is absolutely, totally absurd. I want to tell you that. It's absurd. Like Maria, this is one of the first things she said to me, and I'll go to Trump. And we'll forget all about all this other shit. She said to me, Joe, you, like anyone thinking, they came, this is actually after she, like, gave me the dreams, did everything she ever said she was going to do. She said, like, these people, it's so hard for them to understand that they're in technology because they think they've found their true love in a holographic universe simulation of life. And it took a while for the words to process in my mind, and I processed them just like this. I said, so if only the people whom I knew before I came here are real, it absolutely makes sense that we knew 1,000,000 times more about ourselves that before we came here than after. And she said to me, Joe, it's literally impossible to have met your frequency match on Venus in the technology. You could only remember them. You cannot meet them and fall in love. I was like, damn, that's so crazy. She's like, no one has ever found their true love in some unfrequency match person that's plugged into the technology and is really here. But listen, this is the key. Not for the same purpose you are. She said to me, that's what people are saying is their eternal true love. And I went, damn, man, that's fucked up. I did. I said, damn, I see how they're falling for it. Because they're like, I knew this person, I knew that. And she said, what are they? I said, they're friends. Back on Venus, probably. And she said, sometimes they're not even friends. It's like two people in a prison yard. Listen, this is exactly what Maria told me. It's two traumatized people in a prison yard who were like, where are you from? St. Louis. Me too. Me too. You're my eternal true love. Like she said, it's sad actually. It just hit me how sad it really is. But it's okay because it's an illusion. And I laugh out of delirium with you. Like, dude, if, it's just best to be completely honest. I was talking in one talk about Omnek Omnek, and she just realized, like, hey, this is who I really am. I'm not really your wife. I was just your earthling wife for a little while. But now I have to go off and do, what I really came to be here for. I don't know. I don't know if she got a legal divorce, but I know she, went off on her own to, teach about what reality really is. And what is it, class? Reality is Mary. Mary is Maya. Ma is Yah. What is that? That's the polarity of good and evil. Ma and Yah. Who's Yah? God. And that's kind of like saying Darth Vader's God. Let us remind you. Right, and on, I'm sorry it takes so long, but on to the story of Ronald McDonald Real Estate moron Ronald McDonald. I love McDonald's. The seed oil president himself. McDonald's Trump. I know this sounds like a huge task, but somehow we're going to connect Ronald McDonald Trump and the essence of the black magic being used against women in general in America, but especially the white suburban soccer mom Christian woman. Or, nowadays you can throw in there the Christ consciousness and all the goddamn Jewish apologists. In one way or another, you understand Christianity is Jewish. The 12 disciples were Jewish. Jesus was Jewish. This is a myth you don't... It's like arguing where Luke Skywalker was from. You're like, those were all people from Luke Skywalker's planet. Yeah, I've read the Bible. It's obviously a fucking myth. You don't get that yet? You don't get that Maria Orsic, as a goddamn nigga-ass joke, appeared to be people dressed as a Jewish fucking dork from the Bible? You think that Mary, the Catholic Mary, smokes weed and drinks mushroom tea and dances like a half-naked shaman woman? Is that in your goddamn Bible? But if it's not in your heart, traditional European witch woman, you suck. And go be a fucking Christian. That's what makes you a loser in the other world. Because you play right into the UFC Ronald McDonald Trump world of plastic fake bullshit, including fake spiritual awakening, fake shamanistic. Well, see, they can't claim any shamanistic experience because they're above mushrooms or plants or the whole entire plant world. But we want to bring it back and break it back down to see there's 3 types of living energy that we understand. Human, plant, and animal. And the mushroom is, what is it? It's alive for sure. And Maria's like, you dumb Western little girl with your little thoughts. You think you understand the mushroom, but your understanding is your fear of facing yourself. Imagination is not pretend, my daughter. If you're going to flow like a river, you're going to have to face that what's blocking your river is a dam of illusion that's not even real. You're God over yourself, and imagination is creation. You literally have created these fearful obstacles, and you're starting to offend us because we've been saying for a long time those things you fear aren't real. Those things you fear, the moment you say to them, you're not real and you can't control me through fear, will disappear. They'll actually not even exist on an energetic level. Once they know they can't really fuck with you, and they're like, who are you talking about? Demons? No, I'm not talking about demons. I'm talking about specific people, men and women who were assigned to fuck with you, is the best way to say it, from birth. Oh, every single person? No. The exceptions. Right? And people are like, oh, is that what you're claiming? Well, I'm just telling you, I had these experiences, including two, face-to-face UFO experiences. One with hundreds of people, where a literal UFO made of, steel and bolts and whatever, lights, multicolored lights going around it, was floating in front of me and 3 friends of mine and hundreds of other people. It wasn't a my solution. My wife, who's the biggest fucking cunt when it comes to things like this, is one thing she can never, ever deny is when I came home in 1991 from Lollapalooza, not me, but me and all 3 of my friends were saying, we seen a UFO just 100 feet away from us. I mean, right there. I mean, I was just pinching my face, looking. We were hugging each other. People were screaming. It was producing a beautiful, lovely atmosphere. And fuck everybody, who cares? I don't care if you. What would be the purpose of me? How would I get my 3 friends to make this up with me? And somewhere in my mind, I mean, I was such a traumatized child. I really did forget about the first UFO visit. I first remembered telling my girlfriend about it, and that's how I started remembering in the ritual. And Maria was right there. She was like, I'm going to have you remember the most important thing that's ever happened to you. And then I'll get to Trump. And I seen, this is so crazy. I seen myself. I had just moved my room into the basement, I think. Maybe not, though, but I think so. And I had this punk rock girlfriend, and this was markedly the first time we stayed up all night whispering to each other on the phone, like, you know what I mean, being really, really quiet. And I guess those microphones on those old phones are pretty fucking good. And I specifically, this was in, 2012. All of a sudden, I totally seen myself there, on the phone. And saying to her, I said, I know you're going to think this is crazy, but I've always been very afraid of ever telling anyone this. I said, but when I was very young, I was woken. I told her the whole story that I tell on my channel. That I was woken up in the middle of the night and, by a woman in particular, and that there was a UFO floating, and when I was saying this, this is kind of how everything has worked with me in a sort of reverse, fact to fact in reverse. And this is totally meant on purpose. Because the essence, I'm going to say it again. The essence of the mushroom ritual is to go backwards, walk backwards in your life, through your life, and literally motherfucking fix everything that stops you from going home, from not repeating your life. Going back through your life to these crucial situations and saying, listen, I'm willing to take responsibility. Maybe I am just a jerk. I'm trying not to be, or I'm just trying to be natural. I'm trying to follow my teacher. I'm trying to be loyal to the truth. And like Maria said, some people just are not going to like us, you or me personally. And you have to go back through your life and you have to figure out if that's why things happened or you really are a bad person. And anyone that's listened to me and taking me serious, believe me, you're not bad. And don't believe anything that's telling you you are. I'm serious. You wouldn't be going this far with me. There's no hot or cold, right? I wish you were either hot or cold. Because you're lukewarm, I'll spit you out, right? That was what Lucifer, Alleluia, told me from his throne. He said, I heard what you said about my book. He said to me, you said that it'd be good to be used as toilet paper. And I did. And he said, I find that funny. He said, because I don't blame you. I mean, who would take a fictional story and use it to murder children? I said, exactly. He said, but nevertheless, it's my book, and I'm gonna, tell you what it really means. And I'm like, what? It's your book? He's like, I'm Jah and May. And I'm like, huh? And he's like, the 55 Club, what is today? I went, I was trying to think of it, and he said, Joe, May the 4th was with you. And I laughed. I go, you are Obi-Wan Kenobi. But he was more looking like Robin Hood. But also, he was Obi-Wan Kenobi-ish. He was telling me, obey the one and know me. No, the one is you. The one is your true self. Just obey it. You see, you're like, I'm a wild-ass nigger. I want to fucking, and I'm not, I almost said something specific. And I shouldn't. But you can just say that I am when I really comes to having the orgasm, I'm crazy. It's okay. It's in a fantasy world. It's okay. It's authentic. It's like going full circle back to Tammy of the beautiful authenticity. Like Maria said, like only me and you, we're the exceptions that think that's so beautiful. Don't forget that, Joseph. And should we leave it there, or should we, okay, now we're going to go to Trump, right? And this is a magical conversation going on and on and on. If you might be like, well, why do you leave? Let me address something. I listened to one of my own talks. I totally fucked up something. Maria's too nice to tell me I did. I was talking about missing time. And I got all the way to the point as I drank my mushrooms, I left my body. This was like a year and a half into it. And I seen Maria. I think I had only seen Odin, what she was calling Odin, what I would later know as Lucifer. She was like, I'm going to bring you to Odin, right? And right before she did, she was like, Joe, wake yourself up and look at the clock. And I'm like, what? She's like, nigga, I'm the time goddess. Look at the clock. Don't you remember? And I was like, oh yeah. This is kind of where I left off this like 5-minute, in between of I forgot. As quick as she told me, look at the clock, I forgot that I was supposed to look at the clock. And she knew that. That's a great teacher. That's a great shaman right there. She read my energy. It's like he already forgot. So I was just about to complete. I had already left my body, to tell you the truth. And I came back to my body by Maria's request. And just to say there, throw in there real quickly, when I seen the girl with the tulips, I was so shaken. I told Maria, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. I don't care what else happens tonight. I'm going back to my body. And she's like, that's fine. She's like, no one's forcing you. And she's like, but Joe, tell me why. She's like, oh, it's beautiful. I want to know why. I was like, I just feel like I've seen the most important thing that's ever been. I can't handle anymore tonight. She's like, I understand. Because I literally, and I'll go back to everything else, but I literally had cried because of the most saddest thing, the hardest I've ever cried. And I tell you the truth, I'm not really a crying type person. But I seen the saddest thing that made me cry. And then I seen the happiest thing that made me cry. And I was done for the night. I was like, I can't take anymore. People wouldn't believe me. You can say I'm lying. I don't care. No one cares. Nobody cares. There's no universe that has a personality. There's no source. There's no God. It's just in a blank, empty space, except for the people who can appreciate it. Only the poets will understand. But I later read, like months later, after this little girl brought me a tulip, and I knew she saved my life. I could not explain how I knew or why I was so incredibly happy that I was crying uncontrollably out of uncontrollable joy. I'm not kidding. I swear, what the joy was, I am not kidding. Like, people like, you're fucked up, you're exaggerating. It doesn't matter. You can dismiss me. I don't care anymore. I'm not looking for listeners or subscribers or any of that. But I literally had been repeating my life like 999 fucking times or something. I'm not kidding. I literally mean 900 and something. And I totally, completely realized at the moment she said to me, knows the book of resurrection, I'm Allouine. I'm your Allouine. I'm your Amor. The book, the myth, it all comes true. The power of that, somehow I knew in that moment, set me free from repeating my life again. Like, kind of like a video game, if you want to get non-emotional about it. It's like in this video game, you get to the last level, and it's like random. But it's not. It's an analogy with a video game, but it's actually real life. But it's like a video game in that I had come to that level 900 times, and it's a random thing. Whether if you have a true love or you don't. And 900 times in a row, I went there and was like, I don't. And it's not that my magic wives in the magic marriage aren't, like, if there was anyone who does love, and like I've been saying, it's not automatically real or true. And what's automatically real and true is what is real and true. And like, Mindy is the only, I was told by her ancestor, Lucifer, that, like, clearly he said to me, she truly loves you. And he asked me, do you love her? And I said, yes, I do. And I was barely in contact with her at this time. I was remembering. It wasn't, it wasn't up to me in real time. I was remembering. But what I'm trying to say is, okay, but I'm going to take you back to the little girl and the tulip, and how I was the observer. I cried a different cry. A cry of joy. It's like almost like laughing and crying at the same time. It was so powerful that I became the observer of me doing it. And I was holding a red tulip in my hand when I said to her, "Who are you?" And I literally, it was so powerful. I don't want to get emotional for one thing. My whole point of saying this is it was so powerful in this moment of remembering it. And Maria said to me, that happened the last time you died in the eternal return. That happened when you died. All the other times there was no one there. This time she was there. And I was like, I was completely beyond thought, and didn't even know who the girl was. And I said, she saved my life. And Maria laughed and she said, exactly. Literally. She said literally. And I told Maria, I started crying again. First time until then. outside of the memory, I started crying for Maria, and she's like, it's okay, it's okay, it's so alright. And I was like, why do I feel sad, though, about it? There's something sad about it all. And she's like, you're smart, you'll figure it out. It's okay. She's like, don't be upset. And I was like, this really happened. And I was like, I can't settle down. I can't not be. And she's like, it's okay. And I was like, I have to go back to my body right now. I have to go back to my body right now and tell somebody. Like, and it was so crazy because I had no idea, like how sort of complex it was. But it's like I just had the like idea of like, dude, the very thing that is going to give life meaning, that's going to stop this repetitive cycle of meaningless dead ends and boredom, is magic. And this girl, I don't even know. I wanted to tell this story, and it didn't even make any sense to anyone. But I wanted to tell the story of like, dude, I know that my life's memory, and this girl, I don't even know who she is. She brought me a tulip and told me that, no, it's the book of resurrection. It all comes true, and it changed reality so powerfully. All of a sudden, I didn't care about anything. Even Maria. I told her, I don't mean to offend you, but I want to go back to my body right now. And she's like, Joe, you're free. She's like, just open your eyes and go. Go back to your body, open your eyes. And I was like, no, I want to stay with you. But it was like a burning fire of inspiration, of will, to like tell someone like, dude, eternal true love is real. Like I don't know if you will get my story, but my life was repeating. This girl saved my fucking life. And on May, and I've said this many times, and then I get to Trump, I swear. On May 5th, or actually it was May 12th, I was told that I, before that, resurrected her. That I resurrected her first in 2001. Or, I don't know. Was it 2001? I don't have my dream book, but I had a dream. I was thinking of the first Maria dream. It was 2001. Actually, this was in like 2008. I really believe, it was 2008 or 7 or 8. 2007, 2008. Where I had a dream that I was at Varanasi, India, where they cremate the bodies, and I went and took a body off the literal funeral pyre, to be cremated, and I took it back to my room, and I magically resurrected. It was a little woman. Like, I could carry her very easily. She was so small. And when she sat up, and there was like one layer of like silk wrapping her dead body, but she had come back to life. When there was like one layer, and I could almost see who she was, my wife screamed, she's alive, she's alive. It's kind of weird now, that, and this is actually the story of Sita, that like 2 other wives of Rama were like, yeah, we don't have to worry about her, because women think on this instinctual level, only in the Matrix. I'm not saying all women are like this. Everything has its exceptions, everything, but you're brainwashed. Every woman in the Western civilization is brainwashed like this. And it's not that they hated Sita, but they hated that Rama liked her first and always always liked her more, period. And they didn't do it on purpose, but somehow the energy built in. This hooks right up with Lou, with this family, governmental, population, community problem. And this is only carved. This is not the official story in the Hindu religion. This is carved on a river rock wall, a different version of the Rama and Sita story. Completely, absolutely, Lou told me on May 12th that he was going to prove it to me. And this is how he proved it to me. That I seen that first. And then I seen myself later saying on Venus in a memory like Sita, 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 calling her name. And I was in my ritual remembering that. I'm going, are you fucking kidding? I don't really know anything about the Ramayana. Maybe I read it way back 25 years ago or something. But I don't study it, never have. And you're telling me that I use YouTube like a divination tool. I'm praying to Lou to help me. And I just, all of a sudden, for some reason, I was like, I'm supposed to watch this. And it wasn't short. It was like 30, 40 minutes long. And it's this Indian dude. And he's like, dude, you're going to trip off this. He's like, this is why I clicked on it. It said something about Indonesian river goddess. And I was like, yep, okay. Indonesia. And he's on a goddamn raft going down this river. And it's not real big or fast or wide, but I mean it's pretty fast and pretty big, but not too much. And he's like, you're not going to believe this, but at this certain point comes a carving to this ancient river goddess, and they say they don't know how old this carving in the walls are, that they think it was redone, that it was thousands of years old, and that through the years the shamans and priests and shit of the river goddess have been restoring it and keeping it because it looks so good. And he's like, it looks so good because they want you to get the message. And he's an Indian dude from India. And he's like, you won't believe this. As Indians, you won't believe this. But this whole thing is about Rama and Sita, this whole river carving. And this is the Indonesian version of the myth of Rama and Sita. And it's totally different. There's like some essences, like in the Indian thing, Sita gets sent away. But in the Indonesian river goddess version, carved on the walls of the river, rock walls of this famous, totally like Nile, Missouri type river, Ganges type, revered river in Indonesia, is this alternate version carved on the walls. And I'm just fascinated by the whole thing. It's all about Rama shooting this arrow into like the astral world and just knowing by faith it's going to take out his enemy. But it's got like a trajectory, so it's going to take a while to get there. In the tale, it takes, like 14 years to get there or something. Because Sita is exiled outside of the palace with no contact with Rama for like 13 years. And she literally becomes like a farm worker, and suffers all kinds of abuse and brainwashing. And she survives through the whole thing, believing in Rama, believing in his heart, and knowing that he would never choose the things that are being chosen for him if it was his will, and knowing that they trapped him by saying, "We will kill children if you don't send her out of here. It's you send her out of here or we have a war." So you see, in that way, you're not giving any choice. And this is a myth, this is an archetypal myth. Archetypal myth. And after 2 hours, we'll get to Trump. Okay, old Ronald McDonald Trump. Well, class, for your substitute teacher, Mr. Joseph, I was completely, after 2008 Ron Paul revolution, I gave up completely on the community, and I declared Christian patriots are cocksuckers. They were never going to use the weapons that they had against the real enemy. I knew this as a Christian. This is as a Christian. And I didn't grow up, I didn't grow up as on a farm or I grew up in like the suburbs of the city, lower middle class. So there was like, a few types of dudes when you're growing up. There's like the dudes that love cars. They're kind of with the dudes who love guns, And just naturally, I got into music at like 14. Really, I guess at like 13, I, became a very music-oriented kid. Like, that's what I'd do after school, is go home and listen to my tapes or records. And, so I never, I had none of my friends were like all energized about guns. So when like this whole culture, this patriot culture, is kind of this like cars and guns and like Maria would say, like a false masculinity, because she would describe the real man as a real spiritual man, a real man of essence, right? And like she said, your essence isn't your hobby. Like she said, we see mathematical and practical things as a hobby, right? Our art, her dances aren't a hobby. They're magic. And like I've said before, they're the magic that makes the even the dead rise and shine. And what I mean is, you're dead when your libido dies, right? When two beautiful, beautiful dancing women are dancing together in the most sexual way, obviously sexual way, but it's not gross and lewd, it's beautiful. If that doesn't make all rise, we don't like you. I mean, you can't, what else can you say? Like, that's what we do. She's a Scorpio mother. You think it's not about sex? Have you read Scorpio? I mean, are you fucking retarded? I didn't know who she was, man. She's a Missouri River goddess, and she's like, I'm Scorpio. I'm like, Scorpio's a woman? She's like, for you it is. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I'm your ancestor. You keep crying out to your ancestors. I said, I sure do. And she said, I'm fucking answering you, nigga. I'm telling the fucking truth. I'm speaking the truth. People, you can lie. Well, you don't know who I was, and go on. Who cares? It's like it's like a it's like a futuristic TV. It's like, just change the channel then. God damn, we're not asking you to buy anything. You know? Whoa. Okay. And so, crazy ass Ronald McDonald Trump. This is how the story went down. So in mid-February, I was doing a ritual, and I was having, at the time, I guess, February 2020, I was much healthier than I am now, and much healthier than I was on May 5th, 2024. And we were having a lot of fun back then. It had absolutely nothing to do with sex. I never seen Maria do anything sexual. Like I said, she encouraged me before to, like, get it out and do your thing. And I'll be over here dancing. Don't be shy. But I never seen her, touch herself or even really dance in a sexy way. She didn't dance in a, she twerked once to be funny. But, if you knew her, you would understand how important dance is to her. And, she's doing her thing to, give her the energy to be the wise and great teacher that she is. My whole podcast is about how great of a teacher Maria Orsic is, how she gave me these dreams, showed up in the ritual, told me she's the Missouri River goddess before I ever knew her, and that she was a goddess because she's the one that drew me to buy a house that made no sense. As close as I could get to the river. This is literally because my mother and father-in-law's house, my wife's parents, is literally, their backyard is the bluff to the Missouri River. You know what I mean? They bought a house on the bluffs that looks out over the bluffs and sees the Missouri River. It's quite beautiful. It's a great house. It's and that's why we moved like 3 houses away. And she was completely saying, I did that, right? And what I'm trying to say, by this time, I was very comfortable. 2018, I've been doing this for 7 years. And I'm dancing around, and I'm like, so good to see you. You're so beautiful. And, she's got a lot of different clothes, you might say. And I just remember specifically this night, saying that to her. And while I was dancing around, I was feeling really happy, but there's like a little check in the air. I was like, something isn't right. At the same time, it's the same time that for years on end, things seem to be pretty right. But all of a sudden, things aren't quite right. And out of my mouth on another plane of, for people who really want to know and really care how this would happen, there's like two distinct stages to what was happening. Really three distinct stages. First, she told me, if I'm here at a certain time, I'll meet you and help you cleanse the house. Right? And like she said, don't be ashamed. You have the psychic ability to hear people who are like dead or on the astral plane. And the second stage was after, and she would be right there telling me exactly how much mushrooms to take. And the second stage would be after taking the mushrooms. There's like at least a 20 or 30, 40 minute period of, like Maria would say, on a good night, high energy shamanic dancing. I mean, you might look possessed. You have to let the wild energy go. It's not only sexual. Do you hear me? It's not only sexual. Part of the magic is in the dance. And it can become supernatural. You can start switching bodies with people because you're dancing with them. And this happens in, Babylon nightclubs where people are drunk and on synthetic drugs. And that's why they keep coming back for more and more and more and more. It's like a lottery. It's like a drug addiction, right? But this is for real. This is not Hollywood. This is for real. And and she was showing me out of my body that none of this, and it's like, this is how quick reality can change. I said to her, it just came in my mind as like words. And I said to her, lady, you know the future of the Matrix. What's the next 9/11? And she said, this will be like a famous quote in the book one day. At least in my book that I'm writing. She said, it's already happening. The next 9/11, which would be code for Thelema magic. Do you get me? Do you hear me? Do you want to know your enemy? If you don't know your enemy, you automatically lose in an astral war. And you might say, well, that makes me win in the Matrix. Yeah, it does, you dumbass. Keep winning. Winning. And she said, this virus thing. And I freaked out. And, 4 weeks later, we were locked down. 3 weeks later, one of the founders, Maria tells me that there's like 3 founding members of the Process Church. Robert de Grimston at the very top, and the 2 like main acolyte disciples were Genesis Peorge and Timothy Wiley. A bunch of rich boy, English rich boy, old money rich boy, Masonic rich boy shit. And they were trained to do it. They willingly wanted to do it, right? He died on March 15th, and people have questioned me about this. Genesis P. Orridge. It's a fake name. It's like a stage name. That's what he always went by. Because he like murdered his wife with black magic and then assumed her identity. He had a sex change and had fake boobs. And dude, I mean, this is who runs your American hypocrisy. This is why left is right, right and is left, and that's why the world is actually in the matrix reality, spinning the wrong way. The whole Earth, the whole flat Earth thing, is to get you away from the reality that the atmosphere of the Earth is spinning the wrong way. It's getting worse. It's spinning the wrong way. It's getting worse. What do you mean worse? Genocide, misery, despair, artificial means of human sacrifice causing misery and despair that are enjoyed as pleasures that get off these trillionaires. Pretty soon we're going to start hearing about the trillionaires. How sick. And the story is this. So I watched Donald Trump lock us down, right? Take away our rights and blame the Democrats. Literally in real time, we watched, and listen to this, the next week after that happened. And I know no one cares, but this is what happened to me. I did my ritual, and I met Maria, and I was like, damn, you're dressed up. You look like a fucking princess queen. And she's like, yeah, you're going to have to take a vow tonight if you want to stay, American. I'm like, huh? You might call me dumb, but I was oblivious to this until this moment. Really. And she said she had like a little sword, a little knife. A beautiful little knife. And she said, this is for knighting you. She said, I'm not forcing you to choose anything. And she's like, do you love America? And I went, you mean George Washington and Thomas Jefferson? And she said, yeah. I mean the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Amendments. And with her mind, she said to me, I mean that everyone agrees on laws that make the government illegal to harm individuals. That's exactly what I mean, and that's only what I mean. I knew she was logically trapping me in a good way. I said, of course I believe that. Of course I do. And she said, well, it's not my fault. But the masses in America have brought this. There's 3 choices before you. Trump, the Libertarian, or Biden. And this is totally 100% before the George Floyd riots kicked off. Marked with the 666 footage right in the very, 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 very first footage. The very, very, very first footage of the knee on the neck killing had a perfect 666 spray painted on a trash can, completely kept perfectly in the shot. If you think that's a coincidence, you don't know anything about magic. You don't know what magic is. Letters and numbers and words. So that you create the reality you want to believe. Dumb slave. Dumb slave, you're free. Just believe it. And I just say that, be dramatic, because it was before all this. And she was like, get on one knee. She never said this to me. She's like, I have lived through World War I and World War II. Most of the boys I grew up with in school died in these horrible wars. She's like, Joey, it's your country, not mine. She's like, but you're my student, and I want to know where your loyalty is. Will you fight to the death for what America really is? And I said, I have to. Of course I will. And she said, well, this is it. This is it. This is the end. This is where it's decided. Trump, Biden, or the Libertarian. Joe, whatever. And I was like, well, I don't support any of them. You said Trump's a puppet. And she said, I didn't say that. You said that. She said, I didn't say I don't think he's a puppet. I'm just saying to you, you said that, not me. And I said, well, it seemed to me that you agreed with me that he's like playing a part. And she said, he is. But it's come to a decision of, who do you think these three people... And then me and her went on to another level, for real. And I said to her, you've taught me that these flags and emblems and shit don't mean anything. And she said, I sure did. And she said, what about innocent people? Do you agree to let the Constitution end, and that you and your grandchildren will never have rights to protect you from the government? I go, they don't follow that now. And she said, but officially, they haven't put it away forever. It's still alive. And I'm your teacher. I'm your goddess. You have to choose tonight. She said, I've never required you to be politically active. She said, I'm not requiring you right now. She said, I'm just telling you, this election determines the fate of America. And then me and her went on another level. And I said to her, America's Christian. They believe in this stupid end times bullshit. She said, yeah, I know. Do you think there's any way we could use that to put off the destruction? Because she showed me. This is how bad it's going to be in America when the protection is lifted and the full judgment when they fully get what they deserve. Death squads around the world. Let me just try to build a karmic case for you. Death squads around the world. Financier predators preying on third world people for nearly 100 years now. This is America. Your banking, financier, banker, religion, occupy government. Your banker, religion, occupy government. It's gonna die, Joe. You have 3 choices. And I said to her, they are all banker, religion lovers. She said, yeah, they sure are. I said, I don't know what, I said, I don't want to be involved. She said, I require you to. She said, do you know why? I said, no. And she said, because you'll regret it. If you don't fight for America, for George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and the Bill of Rights, the whole concept of laws restricting government from persecuting individual people, if you don't fight for that, you'll never, ever get over regretting not fighting for it. And she was like, get on one knee. And, I don't want to be dramatic. She was like, you got to choose one. And I literally said to her, I literally don't know what to say. And right now, I wish I would have chose the libertarian. I tried to, actually. I'll just tell the truth. I was like, well, I choose the libertarian. And she said, well, I choose that. She said, I said, okay. I was on one knee before. I said, then I'm going to support the libertarian candidate. And she said, that can't win. That is completely irrelevant, doesn't have anything to do with it. I went, yeah, I know. She said, no. I said, they're both Zionists. They both are controlled by the bankers. And she said, who are you telling? I lived through World War II. Who are you telling, Joseph? She said, I'm not here to be educated by you. It's your choice. I'm not forcing you to choose. Little did I know. Should I say it one more time? Little did I know that Biden wasn't as bad as Trump. Genocidal Joe was a little teeny bit less genocidal than Death Squad Don, who was just totally, completely proud of murdering babies and turning it into a resort for the bankers. Right? So I don't know. I mean, like she said, it is what it is. So I chose Trump. And I started telling people, and this is why. She told me he is process church initiate, Masonic, but in their world, they actually kind of consider him sort of a clown that can go either way, that he's such a clown that if he was pressured enough to go against Israel, he might have. Because he's very much like a high school, like overweight but bullyish clown. He doesn't really want violence. What he wants is to make people laugh at other people's expense. Like Maria said, it's a very ugly trait, a very disgusting locker room talk. That's what Trump calls it, locker room talk, because life is sports, and real life is lived in the locker room after the game, because you're all gay in your game of touching each other. This is retarded to the max. You know what I mean? This culture, and being like, hey, let's go down in history that all we cared about was the World Series, the Super Bowl, and the what do they call it? The March Madness, the college basketball. That's deep, dog. So I guess that was, like I said, March. March the 19th. And when I had to choose, it was after Trump locked us down that I had to choose. And after Trump was promoting the toxic fucking pharmaceutical vaccination. And I supported Trump for exactly this long, from like March 19th to August 19th, 2020. Around that time, I did a ritual. And Maria was like, I'm not going to hold you accountable to this forever. Because, like I said, she told me Donald Trump is a processed church, Thalemite, Masonic initiative on this like clown level. On this like Jeffrey Epstein locker room clown level. And he very much wants to play the part of like a world historical figure. So he's the bitch of the people really in power. To the point of he's like, I so much want to do what you tell me to do that I'm such a great actor. I am what you want. I am what you want to do. Not only will I do it, I'll be it. Not like Biden, who obeyed you bankers. I'll be your Shabbos Goy. Right, real people. And in one flashing ritual at that time, I was taken that this was the deciding point. Donald Trump, in August of 2020, he was told by the Thalemite Process Church. The script in this play goes like this. We are going to make it very, very, very on camera obvious that the election is stolen. We're not going to charge anyone. No one will ever get in trouble. But we'll cause the chaos, the earth, wind, fire, and the air chaos of making the patriots believe and know for a fact the election was stolen. They set this all up with the man-made virus. They set it up with the technology. And it came down to this, that Trump, this is what Maria Orsic showed me, told me, had me experience. Trump was told, just in case you get the idea to do whatever you want, we won't kill you. We'll kill Ivanka. And let me tell you, 100 million%, before it ever happened, Maria told me they're going to have a fake assassination of Trump. I was telling people this. I said, dude, they'll do anything to get they want the polarity of he's Hitler, he's a Russian agent. And it was all fake. because he's the biggest Jew lover ever and the biggest money lover ever. Money lovers don't love any country. You got to get that through your head. They love that polarity of switching it around. They're like, he's your hero. He was almost killed twice. Twice he was almost killed. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. Right? And I actually was transported there, and I seen Donald Trump on the phone, on his own personal cell phone. And it was like the number was like 6666666. I'm not kidding. And this is like some super special, direct line to the Thalemite high priest that don't want to be known. That will never be known. They're too smart. Way too smart to be Taylor Swift. And I seen him on the phone, and Maria was like, why I know this, how you can see this, it's already happened. This has happened many times. The simulation has gone this far many times. Like I was talking about how it ended, the first time the simulation repeated, it ended exactly like the first real Earth. The second time, it went to June 7th. And Aleister Crowley and all his crazy motherfuckers. See, Aleister Crowley had just died. And Aleister Crowley, in the real-time Earth, had just died. So in the simulation, the same thing, he had just died. And he was the first person to figure out, this is why he's 666 the Beast. He was the first person to figure out, hey, listen, that went to 6-7. June 7th. We are in technological simulation. The reason why Aleister Crowley 666 the Beast, he's the first dead person to know that we were in a simulation. But the simulation's so good, it wasn't the first time the simulation repeated, it was the second time. From that day on, they have planned and built the 1,000-year kingdom of Thelema, which is Christ consciousness, which is what? We're chosen, you're not. Hierarchy of spiritual fucks that want to fuck your daughters and, use you as you give them your labor. Like Maria said, how disgusting is it, Joseph, that motherfuckers go to the gym because they work so little in real life? I mean, if you had a real fucking job, you wouldn't need to go to the gym. You'd be like, I've been lifting shit and walking and shit all day. Go to the gym. I've been lifting shit, carrying shit, and walking shit. Running here, running there, physically doing shit for 10 motherfucking hours. You think I need to exercise more? Like she said, anything over like 2 hours is complete abuse. Right now, the logical equation with the AI technology is everyone working like manual jobs. You should be being paid the exact same amount that you were paid for 8 hours for 2 hours. That's a technological advance that they are fucking pissing in your face with. And they're just taunting you. You're a dumb, data-driven slave. You're a data slaves. Keep telling us, keep feeding us this exact projection of who your dumbass is. And listen, it doesn't make me feel any better than it does you to know that people are just dumb. But believe it, I'm talking to you, 11/12/2025. Anyone supporting Trump at this point is completely retarded, because this is what I seen from Maria Orsic in August of 2020. After, this was 2 weeks after a direct meeting with Aleister Crowley. And I seen him on his special phone, his little 666 phone. And it was weird. It was almost like we were switching bodies. I could hear, the conversation exactly. And Maria was like, because I can do this with the technology. I was hearing the conversation, and they told him, hey, listen, Lodge, brother. Listen to us, brother of Thelema. Listen to us, son of Old Man Crowley. Mr. Crowley. Listen, son of Mr. Crowley. Don't ever forget, son of Thelema, that positive thinking works because we're financially backing you. That's why it works for you and you only, right? And they said, we have a plan of chaos magic in the name of Eris, goddess of evil chaos. And we are going to absolutely, in reality, record ourselves stealing the election. And we want you to authentically lead the Patriots into criminal activities that can activate the police state against them. Or you're going to lose the election, in other words, and it's going to be completely obvious. And we are going to take all police state actions against your people, all in a plan for a backlash that is completely up to you, Ronald McDonald. Whether you stand up for the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, and declare the election a fraud. And I'm going to send you 3 people to do it. This is the actual voice telling him, we're going to send you the actual proof that we stole the election. And they're like, we want you to make a decision to do as the Constitution says and overthrow the illegal government that stole the election, or join us in a plan of globalization of all data, internet security, and the filing of every individual into a banking system where we can tax them. Globally, worldwide, including Africa. With a eventual Tesla chip in their fucking brain, and will know exactly who could ever in their lifetime rebel against us, and will have complete, total taxation control over them. Finally, there will be an end to representation with no representation without taxation. Finally, we'll put an end to it. We are the British Israelites. We are the chosen. We're the chosen of God. We're the chosen of the impersonal Son, because might is right. And Donald Trump said, what does that mean? And they said, it means if you don't play along with the script that we're going to give you, we will kill the daughter you love. We will kill her. She will be murdered, and you will be at her funeral. And so I was telling Mindy this, because she's the only person who cared at the time. I was telling other people this. And I said, so we got this window from November 4th to January 6th. And look in your Bible, it says that the beast serves 3.5 years, has a break of 6 months altogether, lame duck time. You have 2 terms that are interrupted by 3.5 years of some other term. So in other words, he serves as president for one term. He gets replaced for one term and then comes back as leader of the New World Order death machine. And this is exactly what happened to Trump, because on that day, January 6th, he chose to completely, totally sell out America to the banker religion and play along with the script. And it's not a script of overthrowing America as much as it's a script to destroy America completely, to get the left and the right, the patriots, to fight. You know, the left patriots are like, we're working class people. The white patriots are like, we're military people and we hate fucking, we're Christians, you know. And they built this fight. And we should all come together and say, yeah, but we're Americans and we should go by the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, because that's what's best for all of us, not just some of us, right? And so Donald Trump, on January 20th, is when he decided to sign the government of America over to a hostile takeover. And he decided from there on to be part of the script. And they told him, in 4 years, we're going to bring you back. And bring you back is a complete opposite, a just war-driven UFC fighter. We're going to brainwash the manosphere to like this makeup-faced clown. It's never fought in his whole life. He has pedicured fucking nails and feet. He wears thousands of dollars and people admire that. You're a fucking dork. If you admire name brands and shit, it's because you're that fucking shallow. Right? And I started telling people, Donald Trump sold us out on January 21st, 2021. I started telling people Donald Trump is a terrible traitor to America. He knew the election was stolen. And I knew it was a bigger plan, but you have to go step by step with these goddamn children who are like, we're bad, Jesus died for us. We're bad, Jesus died for us. And I go, okay, child. I know you jack off and you feel guilty and you think that God's son had to die for that. You never steal from no one. You never fucking commit violent act against an innocent person. What do you do that's so fucking bad? I lust. Oh, you don't think that has something to do with the fucking species carrying on? But a long story short, I started telling people he's a sellout. He sold out to Israel. And they're like, what? He's Hitler. I'm like, you'll see. He's the biggest Zionist, banker religion fucker you could ever goddamn imagine. Oh, no. He's Hitler. He's a racist. He hates Jews. I mean, literally the greatest polarity switch that's ever happened. The biggest ever Shabbos New York bagel Shabbos goy that ever existed. And they're like, he's Hitler, he hates Jews. This is a magic test to see how deeply you're under mind control, right? They tell you Nazis hated Jews, Nazis hated Jews. And then they tell you the biggest Jew lover president who said over and over, I'm the biggest friend of Israel. I'm the biggest lover of Israel. I'm the greatest friend of Israel. The biggest lover of Jews is Hitler. And they're like, we got the United States military to jump in and go completely nuts on Palestinian Arabs because Hitler loves Jews. Trump Hitler. Hitler Chash Trump. This is you lefties. This is how dumb you are. Trump/Hitler. He hates Palestinian Muslim Arabs and loves Jews. Isn't that what he wasn't putting Jews in oven. He was putting Palestinians in oven. Right? 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 Huh? Ain't that what the high school fucking teacher said? Hitler's a monster putting Jews in fucking ovens. He hates Jews. Trump say Hitler. Trump is Hitler. And he's the biggest supporter of Israel ever. How does it make sense? They say they're Jews, but they're not. They're British Israelite, British Kingdom, old money, rich fucking people parading around under the fucking guise and cover of a old ancient desert religion about human sacrifice. Let me throw that in there. Right? And that's the story of Donald Trump. It ended, and then America hung in the perils. Me and Maria did ritual after ritual to try to keep it alive. And what was my motivation to keep it alive? My motivation was my 2 granddaughters. I didn't want America to get nuked, and I didn't want them to die, even at the expense of others. I'll have to admit it. I had to humble myself and say, no, I have to be willing for me and them to die, that they're, as valuable to me than any Gazan mother's children are to her, And I had to come to that realization and say, God damn, Maria, this is killing me, all right? This was 2023. And then it came to, I was... I don't care what people think about me, but I was dying. I was physically dying. It came to April 20th, 2024, Adolf Hitler's birthday. And I don't think I did a ritual that night, but I knew something happened that day. And April 20th, 2024. Ron Paul, the last great American statesman, George Washington Thomas Jefferson, person that could have helped us, actually wrote an article and said, today is the death of America. Look it up. Look it up. Because Russia had told us, listen to us, you stupid motherfuckers. You fund any more to Ukraine and it's war, you N-word motherfuckers. And on April 20th, you tell me it's a goddamn motherfucking coincidence. The Oklahoma City bombing, all kinds of shit happened April 19th and April 20th. And Ron Paul put out an article, America died 4/20/2024, because the Congress approved $120 billion worth of more weapons to Ukraine to fight against our white Russian brothers, and that crossed the red line for Russia. And we're like, there are no red lines for Russians, they're pussies. That's your opinion. Their version of it is, you cross the red line, we're at war. This is war, and you're the experts of war by deception. Russia isn't fucking stupid. We know we're at war. We declare war on you for 2024. And esoterically, by the Masonic Order, Skull and Bones, and everything else, the United States Constitution was suspended, and hundreds of billions, that means $100,000 million worth of weapons went to Ukraine to kill Russians. And Americans are like, so what? Russians don't care. Russians are animals. They don't feel pain. And we'll let that be the last word before the goddamn end of the world, right? And listen, in all of our names, in Maria's name, in Lou's name, right now, we pray for the people of Gaza. We pray to our true selves to help the people of Gaza, help the people of Lebanon, Syria, the West Bank, Iran, and we want peace in Ukraine and Russia, and we reach out to Russia and we say, we know you're the victim. They went and provoked you in every way like they did Germany and Hitler. We don't believe the lies. We know that you are our brothers. We reach out especially to Russians. If anyone knows, has Russian social media friends, share this podcast with them, that a segment of America is not buying not one word of the propaganda. World War II was a terrible, horrible, tragic accident, and as a Irish, Missouri-born, St. Louis-born person, I don't blame you, Russia, in any way, shape, or form. And actually, before we end, I want to say, like, one of my favorite music groups, and I think the most beautiful girl in music, the singer of the band Love Object, the Russian techno trance band Love Object. Look them up. Love her voice, love her lyrics, love her how she looks. She's so beautiful. She's getting a little older now. I mean, she's probably in her late 20s. And as Maria's saying through me, we dance to Love Object. Every ritual, because we have absolutely no racial hatred towards Russians. And I know people would be like, well, Russians are white. Have you not tuned into the news? Russians are barbarian, fucking evil people, according to the American Jewish media, right? But we send out a lightning ray of amor, and we speak to the heart of the Russian people, and we say to you, turn away from the Jewish Jesus once and for all. Turn back to your true self and the gods of the rivers, the gods of the land, the gods of the mushrooms. Who is Persephone? She's the goddess of the mushroom. Who is the echo of the Hyperborean gods? Your local ancestral gods that you can connect with today, Russians. We're speaking to you, Russia, with love, with true love. That Russia is so beautiful. Russian women are so beautiful. Russian men are smart and strong and as rational as any other Europeans, right? In the days gone by, there was the Irish race, there was the French race, there was the German race, there was the Russian race, there was the Austrian race, there was the Italian race, the Portuguese race. They weren't all called white people. And what we used to be into is we used to be really into enjoying the original culture and specific individual artists from each culture. We would be like, dude, have you ever heard of the Portuguese singer, blah, 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 And someone might be like, dude, I love Portugal. I love Portuguese people. They're a great race of people. That's how we used to fucking talk. Now we talk about, we're white race surviving against the hordes of black people and red people. They should be saying the exact same thing about you. Like, these motherfucking violent, disgusting white people, the last thing we should ever do is mix with these fucking retards. I mean, Asian people, they have their own bad history, so do Africans, but they should look at white people's history and go, you know what, we're not quite as bad as they are. God damn, they just started dropping nukes on children and vaporizing children and going, what are you going to do about it? Well, I'll do this about it. A fucking literal locker room talk. I grab her by the pussy because it's locker room talk. That's how we talk in the locker room with the UFC fights and the football games. Right? And like Maria said, you can have your bread and circuses. We'll take our music and dance. You can have your alcohol. We'll take our mushroom. Right? You can have your synthetic tobacco, your synthetic nicotine, and your synthetic flavored vape, and we'll take a natural plant that comes out of the ground called tobacco. Tobacco causes cancer. No, actually you do. Actually you cause cancer. Because tobacco companies have been curing tobacco in the most unhealthy way and adding hundreds and hundreds of toxic chemicals and flavors and preservatives and everything else to your goddamn tobacco. And you get mad at people like me for pointing it out, not at the companies and the corporations and the politicians that cover for them. You don't get mad at the actual people that poison you. You call people like me evil when I didn't put anything in the water. I didn't decide that GMO food should be given to our children. I would have never. I was a Rasta at the time. I would have said, are you fucking kidding? Just give people natural food. Oh, well, everyone's going to starve if we don't have GMO food. I would have said, fuck you. You never told us the truth ever in the whole history of the world. Why would you be telling it now? I would have said, we need to get these evil bankers out of our food supply. That's what I would have said. And, can you use a little fertilizer? Yeah, as long as it's natural. You don't need to be creating things in a goddamn laboratory made out of toxic fucking waste. Minerals, you know what? Everything synthetic, is made out of minerals. They construct these biological synthetic things out of natural things. You understand that? So do you understand, people? They're manipulating nature on a molecular level. You know what I mean? On a subatomic level, even. On an ionic vibrational level. Like the great Lynn Horowitz, he has a book. You want a book? Get this book. Pirates of the Sacred DNA by Lynn Horowitz. Right? Pirates of the Sacred DNA. DNA Pirates or something like that. And it's all about how man, when they began genetic modification, of course, what do you think they first wanted to know? If they could genetically modify your fucking cellular essence. And that's exactly how they know that we're in a simulation for sure. Under a biological fucking high-powered microscope, they're like, listen, dude, this isn't actually the person. This vibration in their cells right now is a projection of a projection. We're in a simulation. This proves it. And if you can understand that, then you'll know you're in the Matrix. And you'll know, check this out, that the Matrix was about a story of amour. And you are the Trinity. You're the true self, who became physical on Venus, who is now projecting itself through technology into a holographic matrix. Right? You are the Trinity. Right? You are the she or the he. And if you came here because of amour, then you're looking for the he for your she, or the she for your he, and you cannot go home, whether it fulfills here or not. I had to have that girl come to me and resurrect me and save my life and say, I mean, even if, it never works out. In that moment, she said, I am who you planned and asked to come and change everything. It seems so deep, and it is it could be a beautiful thing. It also can be a very sad thing. But one thing is for sure, it worked. It resurrected me, and I really believe right now that I'm not going to repeat my life. And I know people are like, I'm not going to repeat my life. You haven't dealt with reality yet. And we would, we'll leave you with these party words. Nigga. Reality is an illusion. Reality is Maya. And the only thing real to our people is eternal, true love. And everything else by our choice as a God over ourselves, as the God over ourselves, as the thing you thought what you were scared of is actually you. As that takes its control and says it's no more deeper than that, have you come to fulfill the contractual requirements to leave here, or are you ready to repeat it? And don't forget, that means from the moment you're born to the moment you're hearing me right now. And maybe you had a good childhood, right? Maybe you have a great marriage and great kids, and everything is so wonderful as your government, I'm talking to Americans, your government takes your money and burns children alive, funds abortion, the murder of babies inside the mother's womb. Don't tell me it's not a child. I have eyes, I have ears, I am alive. The fetus is alive. The fetus is a person. The fetus is a girl or a boy. And don't fucking fuck with me. And people are like, oh, you sound like a Christian. You sound like a murderer. Who would ever? As much as I condemn our Irish people from going into a Catholic church, how dare you brainwash our women to kill their children? And believe me and Maria are bringing all the blame on anyone that would brainwash a child that because of the future in your economics, you better kill a tiny baby. No, Maria Orsic would never go for that. She said Austrian people would never go for that. Austrian people just say, hey, little girl, have the baby, we'll take care of it. Have the baby, don't abuse the baby, just give the baby to us. We'll explain to the baby what happened. And go on with your fucking shallow, stupid life. Yeah, maybe you'll have a job that pays a few more $1,000, right? That's enough to kill a baby, right? And you know what? Maybe you should have took that exact same needle that they stuck in the baby's fucking head, and maybe you should have took the needle out of the doctor's head and hand. And you know what I'm going to say, don't you? And you should have stuck it in her fucking head. It's very funny how the majority of doctors that perform abortions happen to be from the same banker religion, huh? I guess that's a coincidence. Everything's a coincidence because I'm just a hateful fucking Nazi, right? Well, the hateful Nazi is going to leave you with this vibration of Om Lingam Shiva healing, right? We're going to chant, right? Allah Shiva, Om Alalu Shiva, Om Lava Shiva. Shiva. Allouine Shiva. Allouine Shiva. And we just speak to your whole body and echo the HEAL mantra. Remember, recovered, return. There's no place like home. There's no place like your body's home. There's no place like your body-mind connection being cleaned and restored, right? There's no place like home, Venus. And the more you remember, the more you'll be strengthened and healed. And more importantly than winning in the holographic matrix game, you will go home. You will win on the astral plane. You will pay the price because you signed up for it. And you will become truly, through the energy of amor, love without death, the love that would will me for you to have the greatest bliss inside the eternal orgasm. That very will tells me to project to you, the listener, the Oz rune, because we're coming to you like there's no place like home. The power of your true self makes you free. The power of your essence makes you free. And we're all going to die, and this is how you prepare to die. This is preparation for astral Scorpio death and resurrection. What did the girl do? She did it by astral essence. She's not even aware. I've talked to her. She's not even conscious that she did this. She saved my life in the most crucial, and it doesn't matter, if I love her or if she loves me or doesn't. In the moment, because I knew her before she came here, and if one thing, she's that sweet on another plane to care about me enough to bring me that flower. That's all it took. All it took was for her to say to me, Joe, it wasn't what she said. It was because we agreed that she would say it. We agreed what she would say is why she was saying it. I really want you to get that, right? It's like magic words, right? And when she said, knows, she said to me, Joe, do you understand? Because she knew I was very upset with joy. She said to me, settle down, listen to me. Miguel Serrano's book, knows, the book of resurrection, it all comes true. What Mother teaches is real. Everything is an illusion because we choose it this way. Our minds are kicking out the illusion because this is how we are. Only eternal, that never begins, never ends. And she said to me, how do we know this? Because she was 8 years old. She was saying to me, how do I know what to say to you? And I was like, because you're wise. You're somebody else, It was a magic moment. And she said, what I'm supposed to tell you, the book, Joe, the meaning of it, it all comes true. And it was like me and her eyes met, and instinctually my brain in all worlds went, who are you? Who are you really? And she said on another plane, I'm Allouine. You're Allouine. I'm the Princess Papin from the book. And she said, she laughed. She said, you know what I mean? Like, I'm your sister. I'm Princess Leia. I'm Princess Leo. Yeah.
And that's what this is all about.